All right, so The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, the announcement trailer. I would have thought they would have, saved this for the Game Awards, but apparently Naughty Dog is just like, screw it. Let's just put it out. Like, what? I think we're like 2 weeks away from the Game Awards, so maybe we might actually see like a gameplay trailer. I'm thinking this is probably going to be CGI cutscenes. We might actually see like the gameplay trailer at the Game Awards, so yeah. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, though, one of the best doubles, duology. How do you say that? It's pretty much going to be a trilogy by the end of, by the time Neil gets done messing with the Last of Us series overall. But Naughty Dog, they made one of my all-time favorites trilogies of the Crash Bandicoot trilogy. Years later, on another console in another era, they end up making again one of the best series ever of Uncharted. And then once again on another console in another era, they once again did it with this whole thing. Well, I guess that would have been the same console, but a different era nonetheless. Where they made The Last of Us, and again, it's just they always deliver. It's like Insomniac, the games. It's just whenever Naughty Dog makes something, everybody stops and pays attention and checks it out. So, do we need a remaster of The Last of Us Part 2? Sure, why not? I mean, so we the PS4 version of The Last of Us Part 2 is basically all it got was a PS5 update, which was a 60 FPS patch. Basically, it didn't add any new features like DualSense and all that. So this is basically just taking The Last of Us Part 2, adding the DualSense features, adding the quick loading and all that, and upgrading it up to where it is now. And there's going to be a whole bunch of people who are like, what is this? Sony bad, da 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 da. There's going to be a whole bunch of controversy around this, just in the fact that Sony won't remaster something like Bloodborne, which again, I'm wholly on board with. Yeah, let's get Bloodborne remastered. I would love to see that. So let's check this out. It's about 2 minutes long. Let's see what ends up happening in this trailer. I'm actually very curious to see what's going on with this remastering. So, without further ado, in one split second, I almost forgot to do that to make sure everything's on. Okay, without further ado, let's check it out. Oh, okay, now we're going to check it out. I forgot to plug the audio in. Here we go. PlayStation Studios.
I don't know what happened. I was supposed to take her to the Fireflies and walk away.
Oh, yeah.
Because of her, they were actually going to make a cure. The only catch. Sweet Jesus.
Doctor? What are you doing in here?
It would kill her.
Even if we found her,
Ooh, that
some
looks
miracle
smooth.
found someone else that's immune. It'd make no difference, because the only person who could develop a vaccine is dead.
I know all the leads have dried up, but Joel's still out there, you know?
We're gonna have to run! Why don't you say whatever speech you got rehearsed? Get this over with.
You don't get to rush this.
New content? New outfits. Ooh. Oh, a spacesuit. Nice. Lost levels? Oh, there. Now we're talking guitar free play. Yeah. Oh, an arcade mode.
You can't stop this.
You have to play as some of the NPCs. That's super cool. Just one of the best games ever made. So first thing next year. So this is going to be a $10 upgrade. I do believe that's. Is it in this trailer? No, it's not in the trailer. But I do know that there is going to be basically it's a $10 upgrade, the same way that like GTA 5 did its PS5 version. and also no, we had to fully buy. So I do believe that's one of the biggest differences between this one and The Last of Us Part One, which was The Last of Us Part One was basically kind of rebuilt from the ground up. So the whole thing of we have to buy it all over again with the same game. With this is like the second time they put it out. It was rebuilt from the ground up. So The Last of Us Part One, it was well worth the money at full price. People want to argue up and down, left and right about The Last of Us stuff. Whenever it's, especially this game, is the dumbest arguments that the hottest takes is around The Last of Us Part 2. There was a lot of Ghost of Tsushima fans when this thing came out. Now everything's kind of died down. Now that's it's been like a year or 2 years, something like that. However long it's been. But yeah, what they're doing with this is they're bringing basically the first two games up on the same level, because I'm pretty sure The Last of Us Part 3, in one way, shape, or form, it's in development. And then they also have a multiplayer standalone thing too that they have in development, similar to what Resident Evil has done a couple different times over again with their multiplayer standalone projects. I mean, if they took what I guess probably one of the things I would love to see is this have I can't remember if Part 2 had a multiplayer built into it, but just get rid of the this one didn't have multiplayer built into it. That's right too. That's what they're working on now. For Part 1, one of the biggest things I loved about Part 1 is there was no multiplayer built into it, so you could actually get the platinum trophy without having to go online and go through the struggle fest of that. That's one of the biggest things that I'm kind of sort of against right now, is having multiplayer modes built into games. Just on that fact, like if you want to make it a separate install client and have trophies and all that stuff over there, but the trophies for right now, like Spider-Man 2 was great because you could get the platinum trophy without having to go online and grind session through the online stuff and all that. I'm not saying I don't want an online mode. Sure, if they want to make an online mode, cool. What I'm saying is just make it separate so we can get that damn, I like to have my platinum trophies. What can I say? I'm, on the PlayStation stuff. Every single one of the platinum trophies, and especially for The Last of Us Part 2, it's just one last, farewell, hoorah that you do on the game. Especially like The Last of Us Part 2 it's one of the best games ever made. It just is, like the amount of storytelling and plot twists and the way that they switch up the perspective on you. I would say the smoothness that we're seeing that we just saw in this trailer, like the character models and all that stuff. Easily, I would say the character models aren't exactly superly upgraded. That might be the only thing where I'm just like, the character models definitely look pretty much on par with the last thing, but the lighting is going to be so much better. The dual sense, so you're actually going to be able to feel the bow and arrow and all that. That's something that basically when The Last of Us Part 2 came out, it was just before the PS5 came out. So they missed on a lot of features that we have now that we've had for a few years at this point, that basically everybody's taken for granted at this point with the DualSense controller. Well, if you remember, Last of Us Part 2 didn't have any of that stuff. So now they can upgrade it. They can make it into something that's, an even better experience, having all the extra features and such. If this thing has, it feels like this thing has a 120 FPS mode. This is only running at 4K 60 FPS, but that is a very smooth 4K that we're seeing right there in this trailer. So what I'm thinking is we're probably going to end up seeing, let's just play this one more time here. Look at how smooth all the action is. I think, well, actually I'm going to be rendering this at 60. So, and this trailer is at 60, but the reason why you can have a very, very smooth 60 FPS like that is possibly, I don't know for sure, but it just seems like maybe 120 FPS mode. Let me actually check and see if there's a blog post about this. That's a good one. Okay, so here we go. So we have the blog post from the PlayStation blog itself. So let's read into this. Let's check it out. So the team here at Naughty Dog is excited to announce The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, the definitive way to experience the acclaimed Last of Us sequel. Originally released in 2020, we're thrilled to confirm you won't have to wait long for it either. Players can jump into Ellie and Abby's emotional journey on the PS5. Yeah, spoiler alert there. Whether you've already played and even platinumed The Last of Us Part 2 on the PS4 console or have recently jumped into The Last of Us Part 1 on PS5 and want to continue the story, Part 2 Remastered will offer plenty of reasons for new returning players to revisit a story that means so much to our studio. The engrossing campaign returns alongside technical improvements, new modes, and new behind-the-scenes features that deepen your understanding of Part 2's creation. That's awesome. I would love to see more of just Ashley Johnson and and Laura Bailey working together on all this stuff. And Troy, too. Like, Troy was, again, just all-star cast. The Last of Us, my God, it's just such an all-star cast. But before we break down what's in store, take a look at our announcement trailer below. We just watched it. So The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is designed to let you dig deeper into both its development and mechanics. Chief among these is a brand new mode called No Return, a roguelike survival mode designed to let players prove their mettle in randomized encounters and experience The Last of Us Part 2 combat and a fresh experience. A roguelike? Ooh, that's cool. The mode includes a host of playable characters to choose from, some playable for the first time in Last of Us franchise, which you may have spied in the trailer. Yeah, it's basically all the NPCs that you're helping out along the way, who each come with their own traits to suit different playstyles. Okay, so it's a roguelike hero shooter kind of thing going on with it. Players will chart their own course on each run, choose between various stealth and combat encounters. Will put you against a range of enemies. Let's see here. Each run will offer a new chance to decide which rewards you get with each encounter, how you spec out your character, and more. Unlock more characters, skins, and more as you progress to use in the mode. Customize your own runs. Complete. That's cool. Again, it's like an arcade mode. For those who already played The Last of Us Part 2, we know the included sections feature a playable guitar, or a favorite for many. Yes, there was a lot of viral videos that went down. And you burgeoning rock stars impress us with your performances, so we've introduced a new guitar-free play mode, which will let you strum the strings across a host of unlockable instruments. Wait, a bass guitar and stuff in here too? No, I want Joel to rock out with a 6-string electric. There we go. So we've introduced use audio effects pedals to modulate your okay. We're getting a pedal board on top of being able to strum with the touchpad. And play as different characters in several in-game locations to customize the mood and feel of your set. That's awesome. And for both new and returning players and interested in learning more, we designed a Part 2 Remastered to offer a comprehensive dive behind the scenes of how our studio brought this game to life. A new set of lost levels in Part 2 Remastered allows players a unique chance to check out some playable sequences previously cut from the game. Yes! These aren't fully finished levels, but rather early development slices that not only let you see some new glimpses of Part 2's world, but also includes embedded developer commentary to give them richer context. Explore these spaces and hear directly from the team about intention of aspects of each level. This is a unique inclusion for our studio. Wow. So it's like a wickedly hands-on, behind-the-scenes look at, the development process. That's just... You don't get that a whole hell of a lot, but that's awesome. We've also included newly recorded director's commentary across the campaign's cutscenes from director Neil Druckmann, narrative lead Haley Gross, and actors Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson, Laura Bailey. That's awesome. Again, it's like a $10 upgrade for this, so it's well worth. They assembled to offer insight into the story and its characters that mean so much to both our team and our fans. We're delighted to give fans even more understanding of the team's approach to the story. So I guess it's like kind of they're looking at what the fact that everybody was all about the story mode, and Naughty Dog's like, well, here's the reason why we made these decisions in the narrative and went this direction with telling the story that we did. And again, I think it's just really short-sighted and really dumb and hot take to say that they destroyed the characters of it just. I just cannot wrap my head around how anybody can say that with a straight face and not be, trying to just follow the internet trend or the memes or anything. It's the amount of interweaving storytelling that's going on, but also the amount of just like plot twists and perspective shifts, and the way that they're making even the side characters viable characters in the universe. You don't get that with very many games. So there's only a handful of games in the history of gaming that really does that very well and goes all the way, deep dives into it. And The Last of Us Part 2 is like one of the top 3 of them that does it. So Last of Us Part 2 Remaster will feature enhanced graphics, including native 4K output and fidelity mode, 1440p upscaling to 4K in performance mode, an unlocked frame rate option for TVs that support VRR. Yeah, so 120 FPS. That's what I was saying there. Increased texture resolution. That's very cool. Increased level of detail distances. Nice. Improved shadow quality, animation sampling rates, and more. It all brings the world of Part 2 story to life in richer and smoother detail, from snow-swept mountains of Jackson, Wyoming, to the rainy cityscape of Seattle, Washington, and should make a first visit or a return trip more engrossing. Awesome. Just great all the way around. Part 2 Remastered takes advantage of the PS5's power and features in more ways as well, including improved loading times. That's what I was saying. Like, you might not even have loading times. Part 2 Remastering also incorporates DualSense, haptic feedback, adaptive triggers. Yep. So everything that Part 1 had, now they're bringing Part 2 up to the same level of intensity and detail that Part 1 rebuilt. So it's weird because they kind of call it a remake, but it's not really a remake. It's a rebuilding on just a more up-to-date game engine. So, which some people argue that's a remake. I argue it's a remaster because they're not changing anything. Yeah. Anyways, so we're ensured Part 2's award-winning suite of accessibility options return. So yeah, I mean, they're not going to get yeah, and then also the unlockable speedrun mode. That's cool. Coming to Part 2 Remaster, allowing players to post their best times following the Part 1. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered includes the ability to unlock bonus skins for Ellie, Abby, and their weapons that we're excited for players to see and take some incredible photos with. All right. Maybe familiar with dynamic lighting, frame forward and gaze direction, as well as new frame and logo options. Whoa. Oh man, we're getting, what is that? Ooh, that's a cool looking patch. Champion trading cards. Digital content for PS5 console, so probably a whole. Let's see here. This is where they're showing. Okay, so can upgrade to PS5 remaster. Players that had to purchase this title before. So graphical enhancements, lost level. Yep. I mean, it's this is cool. Everything looks good. So 4K resolution requires 4K TVs. Yeah. So January 19th, pre-orders will go live on December 5th. So if you have the original version of Last of Us Part 2, drop that $10 down. Show Naughty Dog some love and pick up the remastered version. And it's going to give me a solid reason to jump back in and run back through the crazy. I have not done a full playthrough of Last of Us Part 2 since the game came out, and it's just because I've just been busy with other games releasing, and now I finally have a very solid reason and excuse to go back and check out. I was actually kind of waiting for something of an upgrade to happen, so we finally got it all these years later. So yeah, I can't wait to see what Last of Us Part 3 is going to be. And whatever they do after Uncharted, because that's another. I'll sneak this little thing in there too. I really hope Uncharted is finished and we are going to get a new IP. I don't want to see Uncharted come back. They ended that series off on such a good, positive, feel good, warm, fuzzy feeling moment. I don't want to see them mess that up. don't do anything else with Uncharted. Move on to something brand new. Make something brand new. On top of that, I can't wait to see what Uncharted, what a Last of Us Part 3 could end up being, and what that has in store. So, where does Ellie and Abby's storyline go from here? We're gonna have to sit back and wait and find out. See what Neil and the team, what they can dream up and come up with and make happen. So, until then, make sure and hit the subscribe button. That definitely helps out tremendous lots. I'm trying to get that sub number up a little bit, and yeah, hit the like button. That definitely helps out too with the algorithm stuff. And outside of that, I guess I will say thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by, and as always, I will see ya next time.